Good morning, everyone. My name is Gun Luthra, and today we'll be talking about Egypt 2.0, the economic reawakening. Welcome to Egypt's macroeconomic landscape. Today, we are zooming in on Egypt, a nation known for its ancient pyramids and vibrant culture, but also a complex and evolving economic story. We'll take you on a journey through Egypt's macroeconomic landscape. We'll explore key factors shaping its economy from employment to inflation to trade dynamics and fiscal policies. But it's not all smoothing sailing. Egypt faces significant changes, including rising in debt, inflationary pressures, and youth unemployment. So, let's dive into an economic heartbeat of Egypt. Let's have a look on the history of Egypt. Egypt's economy has been influenced by its long and rich history. Thousands of years ago, the ancient Egyptians used the Nile River to grow crops, making them one of the earliest civilizations with a strong economy. In 1869, the Suez Canal was built, making Egypt an important global trade hub. After Egypt became independent in 1952, the government took several controls of many industries to help the country grow. Now, in recent years, Egypt had opened up to economy its global trade, with major projects and reforms aimed at modernizing the economy and improving the infrastructure. Now, geography of Egypt. Egypt's strategic location between Africa, Asia and Europe make it a key player in global trade, with Suez Canal handling of 12% global trade and generating over $8 billion annually. The Nile Delta supports agriculture, approx 12 to 14% of GDP, and Egypt is rich in natural reserves with 2.5 trillion cubic meters in proven reserves. The country also aims for 42% of its energy to come from renewable sources by 2035, while tourism also contributes around 9% of GDP. The current population of Egypt is 117 billion or 11 crore as of January 2, 2025. Egypt population is equivalent to 1.44% of total world population. Now, GDP growth rate. Egypt have 3.8% of GDP growth rate in 2023. The graph shows a somewhat volatility pattern in Egypt's GDP growth rate from 2009 to 2023. There are periods of significant growth followed by periods of slower growth or even contraction. Between 2009 and 10, the growth rate starts strong, reaching around 5.5% in 2010. In 2011 to 13, there is a sharp decline, likely due to political unrest or economic instability during this period. The growth rate was somewhat near to 2% in 2012 and 2013. Between 14 and 15, a gradual recovery takes place. The growth rate increases steadily, reaching around 5.5% again in 2018. In 2020, the COVID pandemic likely impacted the economy, leading to a significant slowdown in growth. Between 2021 and 2023, the growth rate appears to have rebounded, with a particularly strong surge in 2022, reaching close to 7%. However, there is a slight dip in 2023. Now, the factors that influencing the growth. Firstly, the political stability. The period of political turmoil, that is 2011 and 13, clearly showed a negative impact on the economy as the GDP dips below 2%. Next is the global economic conditions. The global financial crisis in 2008 and the COVID-19 pandemic likely influenced Egypt's growth trajectory. Next is the government policies. Economic reforms and investment undertaken by the government have contributed to the periods of higher growth. Next is tourism. Egypt's tourism sector is a significant driver to its economy, and fluctuations in tourist arrivals could affect the growth. Now, sector-wise GDP contribution. The service sector contributes 51.65%. Manufacturing sector contributes 32.73% and agriculture sector contributes 10.60%. The pie chart illustrates the breakdown of Egypt's GDP across these three sectors. The service sector is dominating the Egypt's economy, contributing a substantial of 51.65% to its GDP. This suggests that services like tourism, finance, healthcare, and education play a crucial role in driving the economy of Egypt. Industry sector or the manufacturing sector contributes 32.73% of the GDP. This sector likely includes manufacturing, construction, and other industrial activities. Agriculture, which contributing to 10.60% of the GDP of Egypt. This indicates that while agriculture is an important sector, its contribution to overall economy is relatively comparatively smaller to services and industry sector.
Now, let's talk about Egyptian economic policies. In monetary policies, inflation, interest rate, and stability phase are there. In interest rates, the overnight deposit rate was increased from 11.25 to 27.25%. The higher interest rate were used to control the inflation by discouraging excessive borrowings and spendings. Inflation inflation rose sharply from 8.5 to a peak of 38%. Over time, inflation began to moderate and eventually decreased to 25.25%. Stability phase, despite having interest higher, the government worked towards stabilizing the economy by controlling the inflation. As you can see the graph, it explains the relationship between deposit rates, that is interest rates, and inflation. From 2022 to 2024, the inflation rose significantly alongside interest rates but began to stabilize at the rate peaked. Now, let's talk about IMF agreement. In December 2022, the International Monetary Fund provided Egypt with a loan under a program called the Extended Fund Facility. The loan was for 46 months with an initial amount of $3 billion to support Egypt's economy. The key policies that were introduced were tax reform, fuel price adjustment, inflation growth projection. The government planned to increase tax revenue by 2% of GDP. This means collecting more money through the taxes to strengthen the economy. Fuel prices were raised to reduce government spendings on subsidies. Inflation was expected to decrease over time. Growth projection was predicted to recover, with the growth reaching 4.1% and possibility exceeding 5% in the future. Egypt's IMF debt. Egypt is the second largest country in debt to the IMF, which has a loan of $17.7 billion, which is 12% of the IMF's total global loan. For comparison, we can see in the picture that Argentina is the largest borrower with $42.6 billion, that is 30% of the global loan. Now, coming towards the unemployment rate in the Egyptian economic policies. As you can see the graph illustrates the unemployment rate in Egypt from 2014 to 2023. It is a clear trend that emerges that shows the significant decline in unemployment from 2014 to 2019. However, after 2019, the rate of improvement slows down considerably. Starting point, as you can see, in 2014, the unemployment rate stood at approximately 13%. This indicates the substantial number of people actively seeking jobs but unable to find them. Then, between 2014 to 2019, the Egyptian economy witnessed a period of notable progress in reducing unemployment. It shows that during this period, people were effective in creating good opportunities. Post 2020, as you can see, there is a change in trend that attributes to the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic disrupted global supply chain, impacted tourism, and led to economic uncertainty, all of which likely to contribute to slower job creation. Further consideration, we have data sources like understanding the source from the methodology behind the unemployment data is crucial for accurate analysis. This slide overall provides a snapshot of Egypt's economy rate trajectory, highlighting a period of significant improvement followed by a slowdown. While the initial decline suggests effective economic policies, the post-pandemic challenge underscores the need for ongoing policy adjustment to ensure continued progress.
So, good afternoon. Today, I Akshat Verma is going to speak on the fiscal policies of the Egypt. So, what do you mean by our fiscal policy? A fiscal policy is referred to as a government policy in respect to public expenditure, taxation, and public debt. It means by which the government adjusts its spending level and the tax rate to monitor and the influence the national economy. So if we talk about the Egypt, so this time the priorities of the government has been changed. This time the government is focusing on education, healthcare, industrial growth, and the exports, and also improving the lifestyle of the middle class income of the Egypt people, and strategies to build Egypt in a tourist hub. Simultaneously, it is also promoting the private sector of the Egypt to grow their economy in the tourism and as well as in the other sectors also. So the highlights of this fiscal highlights of the Egypt are primarily they are targeting a surplus of 591 billion Egyptian dollars this time, and they are going to increase their public expenditure around 8 70 billion Egyptian dollars, Egyptians rupees, and allowing their grants of around 635 billion to the public. Now, so now today we will talk about the tourism in the Egypt. So if I talk about the tourism, around 15 million people has been attracted in 2024 by the Egypt as an international tourist by the Egypt, and they are targeting of around 20 million in 2025. So primarily we all know that the Egypt is basically famous for its pyramids, but it is not. Egypt is a culturally rich place, and it is also popular for its many places, such as in Petra, which is in Egypt. There is a Nebo and the Malaba. So this is a place of a cosmic map of Jerusalem and a holy place for the Jerusalem people. And in Petra also, it is also famous for its rose red city, and which is also UNESCO World Heritage site. And the third thing is the Wadi Rum desert, which is famous for its desert activities like desert safaris and the other thing, and a Dead Sea Ocean. And in Egypt, there is also there is a Nile cruise, so they have developed cruises for their Nile cruise.
Let's start Egypt in a global trade. If we talk about Egypt in a global trade, Egypt play a significant role in a global trade and economic policies due to its strategical locations crossover of Europe and Asia. Egypt occupied a vital position in a global trade due to its strategical geographical locations and a connecting Africa and Europe and Asia. Its policies, infrastructure, and natural resources like significant players in international markets. If we talk about global economic impact, so Egypt holds a unique position in a global economic due to its strategical locations, natural resources, and geopolitical importance. Like the Suez Canal, a vital trade artery connections Europe and Asia, facilitating about 12% of global trade and generates over 9 billion annually. This makes Egypt indispensable to a global shipping and supply chain. With the disruptions like the 2021, even a incident highlight its importance. The country is also a key importer of natural gas, especially to Europe positions itself as a regional energy hub while investing in renewable energy to support global green transactions. Now we talk about the trading partners of Europe. Mainly trading partners of Europe are the China, United States and Italy. If we take the data which we shown in our slides, a pie chart. So Egypt customs shipment data suggests that is United America and Africa are the largest imported goods from the Egypt. In terms of total shares, Egypt top export traders partners in 2021 were the Saudi Arab, which is 3.39%, and the Spain 1.68%, Italy 3.14%, India is 2.74%, Canada and United Kingdom is 1.6% and 1.55%. respectively. Let's talk about Egypt export products. So, nearly two-fifths of import consist of raw material, minerals, and chemical products, and the capital goods. Capital goods like machineries, electronicals, transport equipment, etc. Some one-fifth of the foodstuffs, and the remainder other are the consumer goods. It is importantly export including petroleum and petroleum products, followed by the raw cotton, raw yarns, and also textiles. Raw material, minerals, and chemical products are also included. Capital goods are also exported. Among agriculture exports like rice, onion, garlic, fruits are also exported in agriculture products. Egypt most important trading partners include China, United States, Italy, Germans, and the other Arabic countries. If we talk about the statistical data which also shown in our graphs, according to the Egypt export statistics, Egypt top 10 exporters in a 2021 were million fuels, which are 28.7%. And if we talk about the plastic, it was 5.30%. Cotton accessories are 2.27%, and vegetables are 2.21%. Fertilizers are also 2.65%. About some additional point about Egypt. So in agriculture, Egypt play a very critical role by exporting product like orange, potato, and onion, with the regions like Africa and the Middle East and Europe. In tourism sector centered on incident, culture, heritage, attract million peoples worldwide, significant contributed to a global tourism economy. Additional, Egypt are active participating in a trade agreements like AFCFTA, which full form is Africa Continental Free Trade Areas, enhance global integrations across Africa and beyond. However, Egypt faces also challenges like dependency on food exports, inflations, and water disruptions, which can affect a regional stability and the international market. These issues its strategical initiatives such as expanding a Suez canals and foresting region trades, issuing its growth influence there on the global economic stages.
Now I am covering the Egypt International Agreement and the partnerships and also its role in the global economy. Let's deep dive into this. As you can see on the screen, the Egypt International Agreement and a partnership. We should start bilateral trade agreement. What is the bilateral trade agreement? Egypt has the established numerous bilateral trade agreements to promote economic cooperation and the enhance market access. These agreements facilitate the trade by the reducing traffic and the eliminating the trade barriers. Bilateral agreements. Firstly, Egypt United States Trade Agreement. This agreement aims to enhance the bilateral trade and the investment. The US is the major importer of the Egypt textiles, agriculture product and the energy resources. Second is Egypt-China cooperation. Egypt and China has developed the strong partnership in the trade, infrastructure and the energy projects, including the development of the Suez Canal Economic Zone. Third is Egypt-European Union Partnership Agreement, signed in 2001. This agreement promotes free trade between the Egypt and EU countries. The EU is the Egypt's largest trading partner, accounting for the significant portion of its imports and exports. Let's discuss about the multi-trade agreements. Egypt is the number of the several multilateral organizations and agreements which bolster its economy ties and ensure the integration into the global economy. Let's discuss the key multiple partnerships. First is the World Trade Organization, WTO. As a WTO member, Egypt adheres to the international trade rules, ensuring fair trade practice and market accesses. Second is African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. Egypt always leading role in the AFCFTA, which aims to create the largest free trade area in the world by connecting African countries, boosting intra-African trade. Third is Arab Language Economics Agreement. The Egypt actively participating in the Arab Language Initiative to promote the economic integration and cooperation among Arab countries. Let's discuss about the strategic partnership. Egypt has formed a strategic partnership with the major global economic focusing on the areas such as infrastructure, energy and technology. Key strategic partnerships. First is BRICS partnership. Egypt has shown interest in joining the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa to enhance its economic cooperation with emerging economics. Gulf Cooperation countries, GCC. Egypt maintained the strong economic and diplomatic ties with the GCC countries, particularly Saudi Arabia, UAE and Kuwait, which are the significant investor in Egypt. Third is Japan and South Korea. These countries have partnered with the Egypt in the sector like the energy, education, and technology transfer. Energy partnerships. Egypt is a key player in the global energy market, particularly in the natural gas and the renewable energy. First is the Eastern Mediterranean Gas Forum. Egypt is a founding member of the EMGF, which aims to create the regional gas market and promote cooperation among the Eastern Mediterranean countries. And second is the Renewable Energy Partnership. Egypt has partnered with the countries such as Germany and Denmark to develop its renewable energy sector, particularly in the solar and wind power. I'll now discuss about the Egypt's role in the global economy. Let's deep dive into. First is the strategic location and trade routes. Egypt's strategic location makes a vital role in a global trade. The Suez Canal, one of the world's most important waterways, connects the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea, facilitating trade between the Europe, Asia, and Africa. Global trade facilitation. Suez Canal facilitate global trade. How? The canal handle about 12% of the global trade, including the significant portion of the oil and LNG shipments. Second is revenue generation. Suez Canal revenue are the major source of the foreign currency for the Egypt for contributing the billions of the dollars annually to its economy. Third is the expansion projects. The Suez Canal Authority has undertaken several expansion projects to increase the capacity and reduce trade time. Further, the boosting its importance in the global trade. Let's discuss our economic sectors driving Egypt's global roles. First is energy sector. Egypt is a significant player in the global market with the substantial oil and natural gas reserve. It has also become a regional hub for the liquefied natural gas (LNG) export. Johor gas field. The discovery of the Johor gas field, one of the largest in the Mediterranean, has boosted Egypt's energy exports. Now discuss about the renewable energy of the Egypt. Egypt is investing in the renewable energy, aiming to produce 42% of its electricity from the renewable energy by 2035. Now let's discuss about the agriculture and food exports. Agriculture is the critical sector in the Egypt economy with the export including the citrus fruits, rice and the vegetables. First, the export market. Major market of the Egyptian agriculture produce including the EU and the Middle East and Africa. Agreements, Egypt agriculture agreement with the various countries ensure the food security and the export growth. Let's discuss about the manufacturing and the industrial sector. Egypt's industrial sector is a key driving of the economic growth with the focus of the textile, chemicals and the constructor material. Textile industry. Egypt is renowned for its high quality cotton and textile products. Construction boom. Major infrastructure projects including the new administrative capital and the transport network heavily bolstered the construction sector. Let's talk about the foreign direct investment (FDI). Egypt has been successful in attracting foreign direct investment due to its large domestic market, skilled workforce, and a strategic location. Key investors. Major investors including the United States, China, and UN GCC countries. Sector attracting FDI. Key sector including energy, real estate, and manufacturing, and ICT. Tourism sector. Tourism sector is a major contributor of the Egypt GDP. Foreign currency reserve. The country's rich cultural heritage, including the ancient monuments like the pyramids of the Giza and the Nile River, attracts millions of the tourists annually. Diversification of tourism. Egypt is diversifying its tourism offering by the promoting ecotourism, medical tourism, and conference tourism. Government initiates. Several initiatives, including the development of the new resort and the Grand Egyptian Museum, aim to boost tourism. Now, I'll talk about the Egypt's role in the regional and global organization. First is African Union (AU). Egypt has played a leading role in AU, promoting a regional integration and development. And second is a non-aligned movement (NAM). Egypt has been promoted a number of the NAM advocating for the interested in number of advocating for the interest of the developing countries. Second is G77 and China. Egypt actively participating in the G77 and China, pushing for the fairer trade and economic relation. In conclusion, Egypt's strategic location, robust economic sector, and proactive agreement in international agreement partnership have cemented its role as a key player in the global economy. While the country faces challenges such as the political instability and economic reforms, its commitment to region and global cooperation position it's for the sustainable growth and influence. To further imbalance its role, Egypt must continue investing in infrastructure, diversifying its economy and foster innovation with the continued reforms and strategic partnership. Egypt is well positioned to become a leading economic power in the region and beyond.
Thank you. Now, let's talk about the Vision 2030. What is the Egypt's Vision 2030? It is a long-term strategic plan developed by Egyptian government to advance the nation's sustainable development across the economic, social, and environmental dimension by the year 2030. This initiative aims to enhance Egypt's global competitiveness, improve citizens' quality of life, and position the country as a regional leader. First, we discuss about economic development. The sustainable growth. They target high and sustainable economic growth rates to strengthen Egypt's economy. Economic diversification. They reduce dependency on traditional sectors by promoting tourism, international development, and the emerging sectors such as ICT and renewable resources. Invest in friendly environment. Enhance the ease of doing business to attract both foreigners and local investors. This includes improving legal frameworks, infrastructures, and administrative process. Leadership and governance. They promote Egypt's leadership role regionally and intentionally by fostering good governance and transparent practices to ensure peace, security, and political stability as a foundation for development. Quality of life improvement. Enhance living standards for citizens through better healthcare, education, and housing services. They wanted to reduce poverty, environmental, and employment rates by creating inclusive economic opportunities. They want to focus on social justice, equal and access resource to all the citizens. Innovation and stability, also sustainability. The Vision 2020-13 foster a culture of innovation and scientific research to solve local challenges and contribute to global knowledge. Adopt policies for a sustainable use of natural resources, combine climate changes, and promote green energy initiatives. Security and peace, good governance. Strengthen the rule of law, transparency, and the anti corruption measures. Build a safety, stable security society where peace fosters economic and social progress. They want to encourage participation and inclusion in decision making at all levels of governance. Now, by aligning its development framework with global sustainable development goals, Egypt's Vision 2013 represents a comprehensive and inclusive approach to build a prosperous future for the nation and its people. Thank you.
So, in the conclusion, the Egypt macro landscape presents a dynamic yet a challenging environment where the growth is driven by the tourism for its rich and cultural heritage, and manufacturing and construction, and it continuously significantly growing in the economy. Yet there are some challenges which the Egypt government is facing, such as the inflation, the exchange rate are highly volatile, and there is vast potential for economic diversification. The global factor, including the fluctuation in the oil prices and the geopolitical developments, add layers to the complexity yet create opportunity for the Egypt to strengthen its ability for a future growth. Boosting the while the government is also trying to boosting its exports and trying to reduce its imports and the dependency on the another country. So in the end I can say that it is going to be an adventurous ride for an Egypt